An electrical metallic tubing, or EMT, run requires bonding bushings when the total length of the run exceeds 100 feet. This requirement stems from the need to maintain effective grounding and bonding within the electrical system. Grounding and bonding are critical for electrical safety and proper system operation. They provide a low impedance path for fault currents, facilitating the rapid operation of overcurrent protective devices such as circuit breakers or fuses. This quick response minimizes the risk of electrical shock and reduces the potential for fire or equipment damage. When an EMT run exceeds 100 feet, the impedance of the conduit itself can become significant enough to impede the flow of fault current. This increased impedance can delay the operation of overcurrent devices, increasing the risk of electrical hazards. Bonding bushings are used to provide a supplementary low impedance path for fault current, ensuring that the grounding and bonding system remains effective. These bushings create a secure electrical connection between the conduit and the enclosure or equipment to which it is attached. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding in Article 250, Section 250.92. B4 specifically addresses the requirements for bonding EMT and other metal raceways. Although the specific wording of the code may vary slightly depending on the edition, the fundamental principle remains the same. When an EMT run exceeds 100 feet, bonding bushings are required to ensure electrical safety. The purpose of bonding is to create a low impedance path for fault currents to return to the source. This low impedance path is essential for the proper operation of overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses. When a fault occurs, a large current will flow through the grounding system. If the impedance of the grounding path is too high, the overcurrent protection device may not trip quickly enough, which could lead to a dangerous situation. Bonding bushings provide a direct connection between the EMT and the equipment grounding conductor, which helps to reduce the impedance of the grounding path. This ensures that fault currents can flow quickly and safely back to the source, allowing the overcurrent protection device to trip and clear the fault. The 100-foot rule for bonding EMT is based on the principle that the impedance of a conductor increases with its length. As the length of the EMT run increases, the impedance of the conduit itself can become significant enough to impede the flow of fault current. This can delay the operation of overcurrent devices and increase the risk of electrical shock or fire. By requiring bonding bushings on EMT runs that exceed 100 feet, the NEC ensures that the grounding system remains effective even when the conduit run is long. The proper installation of bonding bushings is crucial for ensuring their effectiveness. The bushing must be securely attached to the conduit and the enclosure or equipment to which it is connected. The bonding jumper, which connects the bushing to the equipment grounding conductor, must be properly sized and installed. It is important to follow the manufacturer's instructions for installing bonding bushings and to consult the NEC for specific requirements. In addition to the 100-foot rule, there may be other situations where bonding bushings are required on EMT runs. For example, bonding bushings may be required if the EMT is used to carry circuits operating at over 250 volts to ground, or if the EMT is used in a hazardous location. It is important to consult the NEC and local codes to determine the specific bonding requirements for each installation. The selection of the appropriate bonding bushing is also important. Bonding bushings are available in a variety of sizes and materials. The size of the bushing must be appropriate for the size of the conduit. The material of the bushing must be compatible with the conduit and the enclosure or equipment to which it is attached. For example, if the conduit is made of aluminum, the bonding bushing should also be made of aluminum to prevent galvanic corrosion. Proper grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety. Bonding bushings are an important component of the grounding and bonding system, and they must be properly installed to ensure their effectiveness. By following the requirements of the NEC and consulting with a qualified electrician, you can ensure that your electrical system is safe and reliable. The NEC provides comprehensive guidelines for grounding and bonding. It outlines acceptable methods for connecting to the grounding electrode system, sizing grounding and bonding conductors, and installing bonding jumpers. It's crucial to adhere to these guidelines to create a safe electrical system. When an EMT run exceeds 100 feet, supplementary bonding becomes critical. This involves using bonding bushings to provide a low impedance path for fault currents. These bushings are installed at the point where the conduit enters enclosures or equipment, ensuring a secure electrical connection. Proper installation of bonding bushings is key. The contact surfaces should be clean and free of corrosion, and the bushings should be tightened securely to the conduit and the enclosure. A bonding jumper wire is then connected from the bushing to the equipment grounding conductor or the enclosure itself. This provides a redundant grounding path, minimizing impedance and facilitating the rapid clearing of faults. Regular inspection and maintenance of bonding connections are essential. Over time, connections can loosen or corrode, increasing impedance and compromising the effectiveness of the grounding system. Periodic checks should be performed to ensure that all connections are tight and free of corrosion, and any damaged or deteriorated components should be replaced promptly. Understanding the principles behind grounding and bonding is crucial for electrical safety. It's not just about following code requirements, it's about understanding why these requirements are in place and how they contribute to a safe electrical system. A well-designed and properly installed grounding and bonding system is the first line of defense against electrical shock and fire hazards. In addition to the 100-foot rule for EMT, there are other factors that may require the use of bonding bushings. These include the voltage of the system, the type of equipment being served, and the presence of sensitive electronic equipment. Consult the NEC and local codes for specific requirements in your area. Always consult with a qualified electrician for any electrical work. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it's important to have the expertise of a professional to ensure that the work is done safely and correctly. A qualified electrician can assess your specific needs and recommend the appropriate grounding and bonding solutions for your electrical system. The proper selection and installation of bonding bushings can vary depending on the specific application and local codes. Always consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector to ensure compliance with all applicable requirements. Maintaining a safe electrical system requires ongoing vigilance and attention to detail. Regularly inspect your electrical system for any signs of damage or deterioration and address any issues promptly. By taking proactive steps to maintain your electrical system, you can minimize the risk of electrical hazards and ensure the safety of yourself and others. Understanding the NEC requirements for grounding and bonding can seem daunting, but it's essential for anyone working with electrical systems. There are numerous resources available to help you learn more about these requirements, including online courses, training programs, and publications from organizations such as the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, and the International Association of Electrical Inspectors, or IE. The grounding system is a critical part of an electrical installation. The purpose of a grounding system is to provide a low impedance path for fault currents to return to the source. This low impedance path is essential for the proper operation of overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses. When a fault occurs, a large current will flow through the grounding system. If the impedance of the grounding path is too high, the overcurrent protection device may not trip quickly enough, which could lead to a dangerous situation. The bonding system is another important part of an electrical installation. The purpose of a bonding system is to connect all of the metal parts of an electrical system together, so that they are at the same electrical potential. This helps to prevent electrical shock hazards. When a person comes into contact with two metal parts of an electrical system that are at different electrical potentials, they can receive an electrical shock. By bonding all of the metal parts together, the bonding system helps to ensure that all of the metal parts are at the same electrical potential, which eliminates the risk of electrical shock. The equipment grounding conductor, or EG, is the conductor that connects the metal parts of an electrical system to the grounding electrode system. The grounding electrode system is the system of electrodes that are used to connect the electrical system to the earth. The EGC provides a low impedance path for fault currents to return to the source. This low impedance path is essential for the proper operation of overcurrent protection devices. The size of the EGC is determined by the size of the overcurrent protection device that protects the circuit. The larger the overcurrent protection device, the larger the EGC must be. The EGC must be installed in accordance with the NEC. The NEC specifies the types of conductors that can be used for the EGC, the methods for installing the EGC, and the requirements for connecting the EGC to the grounding electrode system. The grounding electrode system is the system of electrodes that are used to connect the electrical system to the earth. The grounding electrode system provides a low impedance path for fault currents to return to the source. This low impedance path is essential for the proper operation of overcurrent protection devices. The grounding electrode system must be installed in accordance with the NEC. The NEC specifies the types of electrodes that can be used for the grounding electrode system, the methods for installing the electrodes, and the requirements for connecting the electrodes to the EGC. The metal water pipe is often used as a grounding electrode. The metal water pipe must be in direct contact with the earth for at least 10 feet. The metal water pipe must also be electrically continuous. If the metal water pipe is not electrically continuous, it must be made electrically continuous by bonding it together with a bonding jumper. The ground rod is another type of electrode that can be used for the grounding electrode system. The ground rod must be at least 8 feet long and 5/8 inch in diameter. The ground rod must be driven into the earth at least 8 feet. The ground rod must be made of copper or copper-clad steel. The concrete encased electrode, or UFA ground, is another type of electrode that can be used for the grounding electrode system. The UFA ground is a copper wire that is encased in concrete. The UFA ground must be at least 20 feet long and 1/2 inch in diameter. The UFA ground must be encased in at least 2 inches of concrete. The UFA ground must be located near the bottom of the footing or foundation. The grounding electrode conductor, or GEC, is the conductor that connects the grounding electrode system to the electrical system. The GEC must be sized in accordance with the NEC. The larger the electrical system, the larger the GEC must be. The GEC must be installed in accordance with the NEC. The NEC specifies the types of conductors that can be used for the GEC, the methods for installing the GEC, and the requirements for connecting the GEC to the grounding electrode system and to the service equipment. Grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety. By following the requirements of the NEC and consulting with a qualified electrician, you can ensure that your electrical system is safe and reliable. When dealing with electrical systems, safety should always be the top priority. Remember to de-energize circuits before working on them, use appropriate personal protective equipment, and follow all applicable codes and regulations. Consulting with a qualified electrician is always recommended for any electrical work, especially when it comes to grounding and bonding. Their expertise can help ensure that your electrical system is safe and compliant with all applicable requirements.